What is going on, lovely people of South Africa and the rest of the world listening? I go by the name of Tumisho Mathekgane, and you are tuned into Quality and Clarity Radio. As you may notice, this is the very first episode of the show slash podcast slash experience. And before diving too deep into things, I want to give a little introduction to everything. I am, of course, the founding director of the small but constantly growing Quality and Clarity brand, and I'll be your host throughout the course of this episode and hopefully many more. In this episode, I'll be diving into the story and background of exactly what the brand is, what it represents, and why I felt the need for it to exist. If you do enjoy the show, please add it to your library depending on the platform you're listening from. That would be greatly appreciated. Now, before we get straight into things, what is Quality and Clarity? With somewhat of a textbook definition, I'd like to say it is an online-based publication platform documenting artists from South Africa and throughout parts of the African continent, giving a voice and platform to artists within fashion, music, street culture, visual arts, and many more creative fields. But then again, every idea has kind of a birthplace, somewhere where it started, So I'd like to think of Quality and Clarity as the start of a phase in my life where I felt like I had to be creating something, but I really wasn't sure what. But to be specific about what I'm talking about, it kind of all started in 2017 when I started a YouTube channel as an 11-year-old, and the YouTube channel kind of went on and on and on, and I just kind of filmed myself talking about things that I enjoyed, things I had interest in. And yeah, after a while I realized, okay, maybe I should step away from the YouTube scene, because the things that were going on in my life at that time, like certain changes had to be made. And then 2018 comes, suddenly I just decide, okay, maybe I should hop into music. So I started rapping. I tried learning how to produce beats. The people around me who happened to also be interested in music would teach me how to produce beats. I had friends at the time who were also interested in producing. They taught me kind of how to sample. They taught me, how to record vocals for the first time on FL Studio 20, things like that. But after a year or so, I kind of just realized that it wasn't really my true passion, and I had to do a bit more soul searching. So 2020 comes about, and I'm in grade 8. I just started high school. So after the pandemic kind of put us in a lockdown, I was in my room a lot, due to not only the online classes but just in general. As someone who's going through puberty at a time like lockdown, it was kind of like a weird situation to be in, so I'd always be in my room for that situation. And being in my room, of course, I wouldn't just sit down and do nothing. I kind of went through a time where I was like exploring my interests a bit more, and kind of just trying to find out like what type of person I really am, so that I could, feed more of my interests. So I started listening to Solange and, other kind of conscious artists. And as time went on, I started being interested more into art, and I gravitated towards it a lot. So it kind of just went on like that for a few months, listening to different types of music and whatnot. And then I think it was around, June, around my birthday, there was a day where I actually stumbled upon my YouTube channel, which I started in 2017, because I never actually deleted the channel. So stumbling upon it, I decided, okay, what if I could revive this channel? What if I could bring it back to life, So with that being said, I kind of just, changed the whole YouTube, rebranded it and whatnot. So as I rebranded it, I started to wonder, okay, what am I actually going to, use this channel for? After a few days of just thinking about it, I decided, okay, let me just document art. How I was going to do it at that time, I was very much unsure, but it was never really a question I asked myself at all. I just kind of just told myself that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'd be interested in doing it, But I'm just kind of that person who, okay, if I want to do something, I know like I'm going to do it, but I'll have to make a plan first. So there was a day where I was editing my photos on a secondhand laptop that my mom gave me. So I used to use this laptop for school, and whatever I was busy with at the time, I did mostly on that laptop. So I was on Paint 3D, the software by Microsoft. I was on Paint 3D and I was trying to edit a photo. So funny enough, the Paint 3D software had this somewhat of a feature, I guess, where you could kind of Photoshop something out of the photo, if you get what I mean. So I did that with a picture of the globe vector. For those who don't know what a globe vector is, just look at the Quality and Clarity logo. That part that looks like, Earth basically. I photoshopped that out of something else, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm a graphic designer, So I started doing that. It was around like 5, I think on the 6th of July, 5 p.m. on the 6th of July or the 5th of July, somewhere there, early July. And I did that for like a few hours, and I was like, okay, let me take this serious. So 24 hours later, I'm already making Dennis Rodman edits, Travis Scott edits. So I'm playing around, and I'm like, okay, you know what, let me just nurture this graphic design interest that I have. So for a few months I went, with the whole graphic designer title. But a month later, I started to really understand that, okay, you know what, I have a skill and I'm very young, so I need to, use this skill for something. Looking at it now, I wouldn't say it was much of a skill. It was just passion that kind of blinded the honesty behind it. Like, I wasn't really that good, but the passion made it seem like I was actually, good at what I was doing. So there was a day where I was like, okay, you know what, I need to actually start thinking about how I'm going to document this art. So I was pushing the YouTube channel, and I got, a number of subscribers. My mom also started, pushing it, my friends, family, and whatnot. And I was like, okay, now video content seems out of my reach at the moment. So I created an Instagram account one day when I was in English watching Shakespeare, right? So, okay, of course, I'm watching a Shakespeare movie in English, bro. Of course, I'm not going to be focused. So I created the Instagram account, which is the date I'd like to mark as Quality and Clarity's birthday, which is the 26th of August, 2020. So as I created this Instagram account, I started, pushing it out there. And I actually did have a logo at that time for Quality and Clarity, but it wasn't as good as it is now. I think I changed the logo about 8-9 times, but it was kind of like 3 times, but I had to like keep on mastering it, changing some colors and things like that. So yeah, the one I have now is currently, I think, the 9th logo. So I created that Instagram account, and then I'd make posts about, people who inspired me at the time. It was kind of pretty much subjective, I'd like to say, but it was also focused on what would the people want, So I made posts about Uncle Vinny. Uncle Vinny is actually one of the first large people to see my work. I remember the same day I posted it, he actually reposted it on his Instagram like a few minutes later. But at that time, I think he only had like 40,000 followers, to be honest. So yeah, that was around September. And then the next week I was like, okay, Scoop Makatini, he also saw it, and then he DM'd me, in fact, and he found out that I was 14 at the time, and he was like, okay, props to you, man. And next thing you know, DJ Speedster, Material Dondada, Richie Mnisi, they all seeing my work, and they all, interacting with it in some kind of way. So that was kind of, my motivation. And then I kind of made better posts as time went on. I gave myself more time to learn about, how to make posts and whatnot. And after a few months, I think I had posts with, A. Reese, Morel Pablo Pala, but it was more about Cloud Cassette. For those of you who don't know who Morel Pablo Pala is, he's kind of the director for Cloud Cassette. So yeah, I had posts for them, and then it kind of just started growing and growing. But it wasn't until February 2021 where I was like, okay, it's not growing at the rate I'd like it to. So I started, being more innovative with my posts and becoming more active on the Instagram account. So I told myself, okay, I'm going to try and start posting every day. So I started posting every day, and then from there it just kept on growing and growing and growing. And from there, it just went uphill, to be honest. It went uphill, and I had more motivation to work with a lot of people, because there were days where I felt really like discouraged to work, but I had the motivation because I knew I didn't have a large audience watching, but I had a very pivotal audience watching. They were very, important, let me say, people who were watching my work, and they understood how old I was at the time. So it was kind of pressure that I voluntarily put on myself, that okay, you know what, I have to do this thing, and I have to do it properly. So right now, where Quality and Clarity is, I must say I've seen a lot of progress, and I'd like to use Steez's advice from Major Steez, that comparison is the death of all ego. Never compare your work to anybody else, because if I was to compare my work, I would have probably self-destructed. Because if you look at people who I saw as my competitors when I started, they've taken off a lot. Props to them. We do talk to each other, here and there. I don't want to really name drop, but my competitors, they in like the 100Ks, 200Ks followers, so you can already get an idea of who I'm talking about. But they do actually give me motivation at times, to like, okay, keep pushing, bro, keep pushing, young blood, we'll meet at the top. So I feel like if I did compare myself to them, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So I think just every aspect of what quality and clarity is, I think I've just always wanted to be a part of something, and it's given me the opportunity to feel like, okay, this is a movement. Because at the age that I'm doing all of this, it's surprising a lot of people, and I'm inspiring a lot of my friends. And not even to sound, arrogant in any way, I'm just saying that age is just a number at the end of the day. Because if I can do it, anybody else can do it, bro. Age is just a number. I feel like if you have it, you have it, and if you don't, you're yet to discover it. That's the mentality I'd like to have. So if you are a youngin listening to this out there, I just want to tell you to like keep pushing, keep chasing your dream, do whatever it takes to get what you feel is yours, because at the end of the day, you'll reap the benefits of your hard work. It's all about patience. Earlier, before recording this, I was actually really nervous and anxious about how it would sound, because I wanted this episode to sound, as perfect as I could make it in my abilities. But I watched an episode of Gary V's podcast. He was giving advice on actually how to start a podcast, and he said, it doesn't have to be perfect at the start. Never overthink it. It's all about the progress that you make and how you make it. It's not about how fast you make it, or if you actually make it. It's just about getting there, to be honest. Because he said something like, you're overthinking making the first episode, but what if episode 96 is what's gonna get you, that gold medal, really done something. So if you're working on something right now, just keep on working on whatever that is, because at the end of the day, consistency is key. Consistency is what's gonna get you, where you want to be. If you can do something every day and improve a little bit of it every day, that 1% shift that you make on a daily basis can make 100% within a week. It's all about just constantly growing in any way possible, because the way in which Quality and Clarity has grown is I had to use connections. I had to make a plan. For example, right now I haven't been filming any content because I don't have cameras, and cameras go for the quality cameras that I was looking at, they go for a good 70k. As a 16-year-old in high school, not employed, like no actual side hustle. I don't like to think of this as a side hustle, because it doesn't make me that much money. So again, patience is key, consistency is key as well. So with that being said, I had to make connections. I had to get people who could connect me with the right people to get the right equipment that I need. You believe it or not, I don't know how the quality sounds on this for you as a listener, but I'm recording this off of my iPhone. This is strictly from my iPhone earphones, and it's all about using what you have. Quality and clarity for the first 2 years it's existed, I was doing all that work on an outdated laptop that couldn't even, it couldn't even handle the software I was using. Like a second-hand laptop that my mom got, 11 years ago. So you kind of just need to use what you have and make a plan, because when you don't make it, no one is gonna have your back and say, okay, I'm here to push you towards your dreams. Because at the end of the day, whether you win or lose, that's up to you. Whether you win or lose, you're the one who's actually gonna be in the position to have a direct reaction to that. Whether you win or lose, you're the one who's directly impacted by the result of your work ethics, your morals, what actually pushes you. So yeah, man, I just want to leave you with my last piece of advice. No matter how hard things may seem right now, work wise, you can do it. You can do it because someone else has been in your shoes 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 other people, 1,000,000,000 other people have been in your shoes 1,000,000 times, and they're hopefully successful wherever they are. So if they can do it, you can do it too. There's people out there who are suffering on a daily basis but still wake up and get it. So always be grateful for what you have. Use what you have effectively. If you don't have what you if you don't have what you desire to have, to get your work out there, make a plan, bro. Make a plan, because the resources are there, dog. If you can't, if you don't have access to people, meet people. Networking is important. So yeah, man, I just want to leave a piece of gratitude as well. If you've gotten this far, thank you very much for listening to the very first episode of Quality and Clarity Radio. And if you enjoyed it, please do add it to your library. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. Thank you for listening.